Welcome to the Irish Mummy Podcast, where we get real about marriage, motherhood, business and success. The show where you get to know that you don't need to choose between motherhood and success. Welcome to the Irish Mummy. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about tips for positive parenting and teaching moments.
So, Rosie, you're going to be really leading out on this one. There's some things that you do all the time with the kids around gratitude and journaling and affirmations. And you've got some great gratitude cards and the teaching moments and being an example.
And just before we start, I just want to let everyone know I have all my flawed moments as well. So we're going to be focusing on the positive ones, but I am human. I'm a human mother.
You are.
I am a human mother. So I want to put that out there because sometimes you don't want to be telling people stuff and it sounds like, oh, you know everything. But these are the things I do that I see work and I'd like to share with others.
I think because we have 4 kids and you're pregnant and we've traveled a bunch and we've grown a business at home, we've just put a big spotlight on everything. So we've had to grow really fast quickly and deal with a lot of stuff that maybe other people don't have to deal with, like the pressure of if anyone's on here, and especially women that have grown a business or you've grown a business together, like it puts extra pressure and challenge on the home.
Yeah. So it's and the other thing as well is when you think about full-time, like moms who work full-time as well, they'll be coming up with challenges that might just look slightly different to how my challenges looked. Mm-hmm. But we all get them. And I think it's kind of when you notice things going wrong in your home, you're looking for solutions.
Yeah, I think some of it, like we've spoken about this before. So like a working mum that has to leave the house, obviously COVID, no COVID, whatever, they're a totally different, separate set of challenges of routine structure, getting kids out the door, getting to work and stuff like that, pickups, drop-offs. Whereas
they get mommy guilt from not seeing their kids enough. And then on the flip side, when you're doing everything from home, you can get guilt from spending too much time with your kids because there's not the break.
Or the perceived lack of quality time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just quantity. And I think that's the thing that we've had challenges with, and really the focus for this episode is around those positive parenting tips and teaching moments in COVID times, because obviously we're still in it. It's summer holidays, so people are around a lot more and things like that. Are people back in offices and things yet? I don't know.
I think only if it's necessary.
So a lot of office-based jobs would be still work from home.
I don't know how they're doing that, because when we try and do anything on a phone or laptop, unless we're locked away, it's practically impossible. So I don't know how.
That's why we're up so late every night.
That is very true. We try and do everything at nighttime now. Just makes everything super easy compared.
So let's get into them. Let's start with, I know you've done episodes on journaling, and the journal is very, very close.
It's nearly ready.
They're putting the covers on them this week.
The very interesting thing is the prototype that I did all my journaling in, I did my goals that they would be reached by July 31st this summer. And nearly all of my goals have come into fruition. So it's
that's
really
amazing.
Exciting.
We'll have to do a separate episode on that, looking back.
So let's talk about little things. So one thing is getting your kids used to saying things that they're grateful for. Now, they don't even need to write it, just saying it like every day. What are 3 things that you're grateful for? So if I'm driving along in the car with the kids, and sometimes it's rough getting out of the house, especially on school runs, I could be just driving along and then I'd be like, kids, what are 3 things that you're grateful for? And it just switches their focus from whatever had happened or is happening or is not happening right before they're going into school. You know, they have to think of 3 things that they're grateful for. So that's one thing that's powerful. Now, if you have kids who can write, it is very good if you can either get them to write on a piece of paper and put it into a little jar in the middle of the table, or maybe they'll have a little notebook and they can write it down. So for the kids who can write, they can write it down. For the kids who can't, they can say out loud, and maybe an older sibling could write down what they say. But it's just to make sure that you include everyone to say what they're grateful for. And like Dahi understands the concept now, whereas like a year ago, he wouldn't have understood what was happening. But now he does. So Ezra is next up in line.
I'm going to just draw on something really, I think it was from the Dr. Laura Froyen episode where she talked about the reset. because you said something really powerful there about, well, the way I was speaking about you, people might have this perception that you're perfect, which you are amazing. But
I'm perfect, Adam, but I'm not in the real world.
Yeah, you look really beautiful tonight, actually. You're distracting me while we're trying to record this episode. But when I think you've got that, you're into that pregnancy glow phase. You're really hot when you're pregnant. But she was saying, like, when there's a situation where I've just started doing it the last 2 days. Where it's escalated, and you say, okay, can we have a reset? Can we have a restart or a redo? I think that was Dr. Laura Freud.
Yeah.
But it's a really powerful thing when you're trying to take back control of a situation and get into that positive parenting space when maybe there's a negative challenge of just saying, hey, I just said, look, Dad stuffed up. I didn't do it. I messed up. Can we just, and that coupled with what you do with the gratitude and stuff, it just sets a tone where, we don't get things right all the time.
And a reset is kind of like, as well, it's so important for kids to see you apologize as quickly as possible when you know you should, because there's nothing more empowering for a child than to say, that's okay, I forgive you, Mom, or I forgive you, Dad. Like, it's so empowering for them to know that, one, their parent's not perfect, but two, that they're validated. Yeah. Like, as a person, they're validated that they deserve to be apologized to, because they'll grow up then thinking, I deserve an apology. You know what I mean? Like, if someone does something wrong, I can forgive them. But,
it's good if they apologize.
It's good if they apologize. So it kind of teaches them a little bit of boundaries with self-respect as well. So I think that's another thing, is apologizing. So doing the reset and apologizing. But something I've noticed my kids love when I do this. Now, sometimes I forget to do it, but when I start doing it again, they thrive on it. So I have a pack of affirmation cards for kids that a friend gave me years ago. And the part that my kids love the most is where I turn them upside down and they can't see them and they get to pick one. Now they want to pick 3.
5.
Yeah, then they pick their 3 and they want 3 more. But anyway, they literally love the cards. And I think it's the excitement of the surprise of what it's going to be. But the thing is, my older son reads them out loud, but my younger girl tries to memorize what she hears so that when she sees a card, she can make one up, even if she's reading one, but she's not actually reading it. But like, she so cannot wait to read. So it's giving her an incentive to want to read. But they love the cards. And the thing about it is, it doesn't matter if the children know it's helping them or not. When they read out loud and affirm a positive statement, it is so powerful for their day, because the spoken word is so powerful. Like, when you think about spoken word and television, on like who you're spending time with, what words you're saying, the spoken word, we have no idea the power of it. So, especially with kids, because their brains are so malleable. Yeah. So it's really, really, really powerful. And it's funny because there's that saying, if you help enough people get what you want, you can have everything you want. And the reason why I loved in affirmations in the morning. If you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. Yeah. But the reason why I loved in the positive affirmations in the morning on my Instagram stories is because I find any affirmation I do on my stories, it's heightened for me that day. And you've started doing them a lot with the kids. You know what I mean? Before that, we're like, we got to not like stage it, or what, not stage it, but you know what I mean? It's just got to, because you were doing them early in the morning and late at night and stuff, but now we've shifted them. You're doing a lot of the morning ones, some of the morning ones. Well, the ones I do with the kids, their cards, they're in the middle of the day, but my ones and social stories are separate to the kids because the kids aren't awake when I'm doing them. But I noticed... I just saw the one you did with the kids, the whatever it is. Which one? The one with like, I'm grateful for, and Dahi said... that was so in bed the other morning, I did one with Dahi, and I said, Dahi, what are you grateful for? And I was recording him, and he said... a brother and a sister. So that was the affirmation. Then I let it be for the day. But normally the kids are in bed and I do them. And Ezra popped his little head up. And Ezra was looking so cute. So yeah, so that's another thing is I notice that when I do them for social stories, I get a heightened impact for my affirmation for the day. I notice it coming into effect very quickly. And then that bleeds into the parenting with the kids and stuff. So I was trying to think about if you can find yourself a packet of positive affirmation cards, but do it like that, where you take the cards out and you say pick 3 cards or pick a card. It's the surprise. Everybody likes to pick a card. It's
or if
surprise.
you have some creative, artistic people in the house, you could get some blank cards and do your own.
Don't do that. A mother is not going to have time to do that. You're just complicating it. That's the worst tip you could have given them.
Okay, delete that.
The achiever mother would do it anyway, who naturally has an instinct to do DIY. I'd be terrible at that for the kids. I can do it when I'm doing it in the morning, but not get the cards. Get the cards. Adam's going to reset that comment.
You know what that is case in point of people
complicating things.
No. People giving parenting advice. Like, I don't do the affirmation cards with the kids.
You shouldn't be giving any advice.
Exactly. Case in point.
So get the cards.
I'm giving this
hypothetical.
Would be nice. This would be so amazing if you did this.
Oh, I want to tell another story as Adam says that. So when I went to America with the kids, I would love to be a DIY, make stuff for my kids. But I'm not that way inclined. And no matter how much I want to, I never do it. And anyway, we went to America and my aunt was making bath bombs for the kids. And my cousin ordered kind of these shells. They were like kind of turtle egg shells or dinosaur egg shells. And basically you could make your bath bomb. They would be with that imprint on them. And I brought them home with me. I've had them, I'd say I've had them.
Are they those things I keep moving around?
Wait for it. So I've had them here for about 3 years, and my friend was over here the other day, and I said, I was like throwing stuff out and getting rid of stuff, and I was like, these are these freaking bath bomb shells, and I'm like, I had all these plans. I could make chocolate with them. I could do all this stuff, and I was like, I've never done it. And she goes, look at me. You are the mother that your children need. You're not the mother that makes this stuff. Get rid of it so that you can get rid of this guilt that you're carrying. Because every time you look at this,
such good advice.
You just feel guilty. So get rid of the guilt. Put it in. And I said, should I donate? She goes, no, you're not donating it. Just dump it. You've carried guilt for 3 years and you've never used it. And the relief I felt putting it in the bin, because I'm not the person to do that. Whereas my aunt, she was that person, like my cousin went and ordered it. Like, I never would have even ordered it, but I just brought it home with these things. Like, I'd love to do it. And it was funny because we were talking afterwards and we said, how many things do we keep in our houses as mothers? And when we look at them, we feel guilt that we don't do them with our children, as opposed to do the stuff that you do love to do with your kids and just let go of the other stuff. Like, just, you're their mother for a reason, and you're not their mother. I'm not their mother to make bath bombs.
No.
So that's another thing. Just get rid of stuff that you're carrying guilt for. Like, if you know what I mean, the thing is, you can send your kids somewhere where they can do something if they really like it.
Or you can buy the things.
Yeah. But so that I threw that out, and it was so liberating.
Yeah, we are not DIY people.
Yeah, I'd love to be, but I'm not. Now, Adam is very good. If I say to Adam, if I give Adam a specific task, like say, for example, an oil blend. Here's a specific oil blend I want made up, but I'd never make it up. Adam will go away because he's got a list. This is what goes in it. This is this. He'll put it together. But for me, this is so interesting. If a friend of mine needed a blend and I wanted to make it for them, I'd be the person that would be about to run out the door, and I'd come back and blend it up in 3 seconds and be out the door with it labelled.
Only if I haven't done it first.
But if it was for myself, I would not do it. So these are other things as well, is that, like, we have to acknowledge what we're good at and that what we're naturally inclined to do, and we have to let go of the rest, and we have to not look at other mothers and compare, because where you see another mother thriving, there'll be another area of their life where they're just surviving. And so if we can just figure out what we thrive in and where we survive and just acknowledge that, we could get so much help from each other without trying to be everything.
And a lot of the times when I'm doing things that I don't really want to do with the kids, you could, like, that's when you slip out. You're not going to be a positive parent in those situations. And it's not like, oh, well, you should just do it because you need to grow or whatever. But there's so many things that I like doing that the kids love doing. But we get into this space, oh, I saw it on Instagram, or some other dad is doing this, or I should do this, or my kids saw it on
Case
something.
in point, I like building puzzles with kids because it's got a
I
start
love
point,
puzzles.
it's got an end point, everyone can add, it's kind of exciting.
So true, it does have an end point.
And like, I actually don't mind sitting down colouring, but I find that the kids get competitive. They're like, can I colour this? And you're halfway through colouring. And I'm like,
It's a fight.
in my head, I'm like, I really want to finish this picture. And then they want to finish it. And then I'm like, oh, just finish it. I don't like colouring with you.
You have to let go.
I like playing Uno with Paddy because it's a bit of fun.
He gets competitive.
He does get competitive. And I like, what are other things I like to do? I like going out with them. Like, I like going social places with them. So like somewhere.
Yeah, we have very sociable kids.
Yeah, I like bringing them out for like, yeah, anywhere there's other people. They enjoy that and I enjoy that. But like, there's just little things. I don't mind building Lego.
So I think if we were to sum this up, what we've discussed so far in this episode, if you do things as a parent that are empowering for you, then they'll be empowering for your kids.
Yes.
When you come at parenting from a space of guilt,
or I didn't do this,
your heart won't be in it. You get frustrated so much quicker, and the kids feel it. The kids,
or you just feel guilty about all the stuff you didn't do.
Exactly. So that is really, really powerful. Like I love mowing the lawn. So now the kids help me. Like Dahi will help push the mower. Paddy will do some strips by himself now because we've got the self-propelled mower. And obviously I'm there watching it. But but if I try to do other things, then it just doesn't work out well.
Yeah. So stick to what you're good at and what you enjoy doing, and don't feel guilty about the other things. Now, another really a really powerful thing that I've recognized, and I'm going to tell you a story from today, and then we can relate it to the kids. So kids really will only do something if they understand why. But more important than understanding why is if they know that you took the time to explain to them why. Mm-hmm. So a few months ago, I had my chiropractor tell me that I should go for regular chiropractic sessions. But he didn't tell me why. He just obviously said it would be good for me. But today I met him, and when he adjusted my neck, he told me I should go for them. I said, you tell me exactly how often you think I should go for them, because I will if you tell me how often. And he told me, and then I said, and then if you tell me why. So he told me that the way my neck was curving, if I didn't improve my neck posture, I would have arthritis in it maybe, 10 years time. And that there was a simple exercise I could do that would change the shape of the curve, and then regular treatments would bring it back. Now, he said, no matter what you try and do with your posture, you'll never improve it without trying to do exercises on it or getting adjustments.
And he said, and this is so powerful, he said, good posture is a result of what you do, not about thinking about having good posture.
Yeah.
And you think about that in parenting.
So when I thought about, when he said why, I'm like, I don't want that to happen in 10 years' time. So I'm literally going to book in a 2-weekly appointment for a chiropractor, and I'm going to do my exercise that he gave me every single day for 10 minutes, because the outcome is what I want. Yet when he told me the advice a few months ago, and maybe he did tell me that, but I don't remember him telling me that detail.
The last time we went, all of us
went
got
to the
adjusted.
family, so it was kind of, we were distracted.
Even Ezra, 6 adjustments.
Yeah. So it was interesting because as soon as I understood the why, I was up for doing I valued the outcome. And I find that with the kids, when I take the time to tell them why, they just thrive. But sometimes when we're rushing, Adam, you'd be more of a rusher than me.
Yeah, I create a really bad environment in energy. Like I'm always, I don't know, I always worry that we're going to run out of time.
Yeah, you're always worried. And I think that's where sometimes then there's not the why, but the kids rebel when there's no why, because they feel like...
They know I'm rushing and I always carry on, we're never late.
But but say if you don't explain the why, they think they're being told to do something that's not of their benefit, but something an adult wants them to do. But when you explain the why and how it could benefit, in a lot of cases it could benefit them or protect them, then they're like, I get it. And then they're more inclined to do it without being told again, because they understand why you're doing it. But the thing about how I notice with the kids, when the penny is dropped for them, they repeat back to me why it's important in their own words, where they've actually thought about it and then they kind of say it back to me. And then I know they got it. Like, I'm like, okay, they get it now.
Yep.
And I even find now with Dahi, I've taken a lot of time now where I start to explain things to Dahi, the why. And he is so appreciative that I now see him as old enough to understand that I'm explaining something to him. He's really thriving.
Yeah, he is. And he's gone really soft again towards you. You know what I mean?
Because I think the big thing for Dahi now is he's old enough to understand and for things to be explained to him. And he values being treated like the others. And when you stop and take the time, like really take the time to explain why, because actually you do actually explain why to them a lot in other instances, and how I know you do is because the kids repeat everything they hear. And I'll hear them say things like, I'll tell you why. You know, they'll want to tell us something and then they go, I'll tell you why. But Adam obviously says that sentence a lot when he's saying stuff. But there's actually other moments when we're actually telling them why, not just saying, I'll tell you why.
If I was to look at the way that I parent in those situations, like if I was to look at the negative side of how I say, I tell you why, I'm using it as a lever
to get them to do something.
To get them to do stuff rather than as a lever to empower them.
Yeah. Whereas I do it as a lever to empower them. But this is another thing as well, is I think...
I'm learning a lot on this episode.
But I think as well, sometimes there are things that come very natural to mums. And it's not anything against dads. But like mothers, if you think about it, like when you carry a baby, you don't realize how intuitive your body actually is. Mm-hmm. That there's obviously natural things that we would do without knowing we do it. And sometimes it's like Adam, like, well, just teach me how to do it. And I'm like, I don't even know if I can teach you, because when I tell you, it's still not natural for you to do it, to remember it.
Mums have superpowers. Dads are incredible. I'm not saying dads aren't amazing. We are amazing. We're incredible. But mums there's just this otherworldly
extra
connection that has to be there because you carried that baby.
Yeah, and I think think about it, even if you didn't carry a baby, like say for example, even if you adopt a baby, say, mm-hmm. you still have that innate built-in
that maternal instinct.
Like it's still there. Like I remember having it long before I had children. I couldn't wait to have children. So it's kind of like I would look back when I was younger and I would always wanted to have been a homemaker. Like that was in me to want to be a homemaker. Whereas that's not something that you can explain or learn. It was just there.
Yeah, and you've balanced it really well. And we've done quite a few episodes. And it's probably a time for us to rehash a new episode, because the way we're doing it shifted a bit. But you've found that balance between being a successful businesswoman, an entrepreneur, and being you're probably 75% mom and 25% business now.
So this is
give or take.
This is the other interesting thing is, so we were talking with some women tonight, and one of them said, I never set out to be self-employed or be an entrepreneur, be a businesswoman. I never set out to be those things. But when I became a mother, I realized I didn't want to go back to work, and kind of by pure need and just not being able to go back to work, I started to slowly work from home, and I ended up setting up my own business from home. And I think that's the main thing that happens with women, is that we don't set out to be business women or entrepreneurs or any of these like fancy titles, or like we don't set out for that.
Some do.
Well, but what I mean is that like we might set out to do those things before we have children.
Yeah.
But when you become a mom and you set up your own business, a lot of times it's not to do with setting up your own business.
It's just a necessity.
But it's because you're trying to get the right balance. Like it's actually all to do with balance. And I think that's why, say for me, when I hear you say things like you're a businesswoman, you're that, I don't identify as that. I identify as a mother who's trying to get the right balance with her kids, and I'm working out what hours can I work, how can I create the most value in those hours, and how does it meet my needs and meet everybody's needs. And I think that's the other thing is, like, as a parent, when we let go of titles and we just focus on our values and creating balance
and impact.
Yeah. And then it's kind of like, well, what impact do you want with your kids? What type of balance do you want with your kids? Only you will know what's right balance for you. Like for you, the right balance could be working part-time, it could be working full-time, it could be like, some people have very supportive like partners at home and they can juggle. Some people, they have a really great support system with childminding. Like everyone has their own balance, but I think the biggest thing is that when it's not working, have the belief that it could change.
And the courage. I think that's what we were talking about tonight, is that, when you find the right balance for you, you'll know, because you'll have that peace and the juggle will be manageable. Like, you can manage the juggle without burning out or having all these like fears and anxieties. Whereas there's no perfect answer. But I think the biggest thing that I took away tonight, we were all talking, is that just having the realization, like, look, I'm in a situation, I don't like it. I'm not happy. The kids aren't happy. What can I do to change it? Mm-hmm. And to just move towards change, but start where you are. Like wherever you are, start there. And it's so powerful, because I think the hard thing about speaking to two mums or speaking to each other is that we all have such different circumstances, but it's really what we want is to be happy and have balance. And we can tell ourselves when we're out of balance and we're not happy, and only we can tell that. But only we can tell when we are happy and when there is balance, because it's all behind closed doors. Yeah. So if I was to summarize this episode from what I've learned from it, is that positive parenting and being empowered in those teaching moments as a parent comes from understanding yourself. That's what I've heard, because when we unconsciously parent, that's when our old patterns and habits and triggers can come up. But trying to grow and shift and understand yourself, that's where the power of being a positive parent can come through.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. And you're not going to do it 100% of the time. Like if you're 50-50, you're going to be a miracle worker.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's like just giving yourself a break. Like you can be imperfect and still strive to be better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about perfection. It's all about striving to be better. Like no matter how bad your day is.
Progress.
Yeah, it's about progress. But no matter how bad your day is, you can strive to be better tomorrow. And you can't really compare your journey to someone else, because you don't know where they're at and you don't know what journey they've been on or what they're about to go through. So really, you can take inspiration from other people, but you shouldn't really compare to other people, because you don't know what aspects of their life are thriving and maybe what are barely surviving.
Yep.
So we really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you aren't following me already, you can follow me on The Irish Mummy, MUMMY, on Instagram. We have some exciting things that we're going to be sharing over the next few weeks, so stay tuned to that. You can also subscribe to A Letter to My Sisters at www.theirishmummy.com. And what else, Adam? Our journal, it is soon to be released.
Oh, yes.
Finally,
Brexit,
Journal to
COVID,
Joy.
Waiting on the special material for the journal. It's been a journey.
Yes, and you know what? I just wanted to make it such a luxury experience that everyone wants to do it first thing in the morning and they want to do it last thing at night, because it's such a luxurious
people are going to treasure this journal.
You're going to love it.
It ain't like any other journal.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us on this episode.
And we'll talk to you next time.